Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my journey to becoming a profitable trader on the Nasdaq Futures. I am currently on an evaluation with the prop firm Trade Day to become a funded trader. So today's takeaway is that I am still not a good trader yet. So let's get into how this session went. We are still a couple of minutes from the open here. I'm starting to draw these lines so that I am able to see the tops and the bottoms of not necessarily the whole pre-market, but where it's been consolidating for the last 15 minutes or so. I really like trading in consolidation. It's because then you're able to have the two barriers of what you're really trying to stick through. And you can just kind of have it bounce off each other for as long as it works. It goes with the idea of following the trend, but instead of an upward or downward trend, we are instead dealing with one that's bouncing back and forth, and you should continue to assume it's going to bounce back and forth until the chart tells you otherwise. Here we are at the open. We never trade the open, it is too volatile. We'll get a look at the ATR to see how big this candle ended up being. But when I have a stop loss of 2.5 points, I would stand no chance with how much back and forth those candles go. I always wait until at least 8:32. We're considering even moving that later. You will see why later in this session. That first candle was 23 points. Second one's 13, still too high. We don't want to do anything until we're getting consistently 12. I might be changing that rule after I add a little bit more data and do a little bit more back testing. We will see. Definitely looks different than yesterday. Yesterday we were pretty much all in the red underneath the moving average. The yellow line represents the moving average from my chart. The dashed lines represent one standard deviation away, and the lighter line represents 2 standard deviations away. Right here, we're really wanting to stick right around that 390. And I just traded over to my evaluation, knowing that we are about 20 seconds away from when I would even consider taking a trade. You can see by the ATR, we are down to 9.5, which is good. Much more feasible of something that I would be willing to trade. This looks much better than it did yesterday in terms of what I'm more comfortable in. But as I said by today's takeaway, I did not finish in the green for my evaluation. I don't think it's necessarily bad trades that I took. Ones that I definitely missed that I should have taken. Right now we're thinking about going short here. If it pops back up, I could see me doing that. There I go. See, and right out. There goes $25. Not real money, remember, we're doing an evaluation. But still. See, here I'm thinking, it's still bouncing. It's not going anywhere higher right now, so I'm considering going lower again, and the whole thing just bugged out. I hate when it does this. My VWAP indicator sometimes thinks I want to move it by chance, so there we go. No, since we're in the green, we're so above the moving average. What I really want it to do is to get down to the lower blue line that I have right here. That way I can hope that it's going to bounce off that. Doesn't always happen that way, as we're about to see. Once it shot through, This should have been a sign. See, I got stopped out right away. This should have been a sign like, look at this. There's 3 red candles in a row. And we're clearly starting to move out of the consolidation that we were in, and now we're shooting right through it. So I've moved over to my sim account. So those psychological triggers of losing quote unquote money on something I'm being evaluated on is gone. And here I'm able to trade a little bit more freely and use intuition as well. You can see right away, there's a win. I'm following this new trend that's developed. One of the hardest things for me easily is shifting my mindset. If I'm seeing consolidation for the first couple minutes, and then it breaks out of that, my brain thinks it's going to go back to that consolidation when clearly a new rule has been established. It's always easier to see that in hindsight, of course, but nonetheless. Okay, stopped out because for some reason I thought it was done coming down. It wasn't. I know we brought this up yesterday, but I really think I'm going to start this VWAP. It starts at the beginning of the trading session, which doesn't start at even pre-market. It starts the previous day at like 7 p.m. I'm not sure exactly offhand what time it does, but that's a lot of data. But it's also data that is accumulated during shorter periods of volatility. See here? I think I had the right mindset, but see, that's a good loss because that's where we're following the trend. And yes, it started to slow down. So maybe it was a point where I shouldn't have taken a trade. That was an excellent trade where I'm seeing that it's bouncing off of that moving average. Now I'm just trading free right now. So there are 2 big wins that I had and just good intuition trades while still using some tools at hand. You should never use anything that I'm talking about as a set rule. How I like to think of trading is if you have a roadmap with streets and everything, that gives you a pretty good guide. Here we go again. We're entering in. There's a loss. For your roadmap, you're able to see the streets and you're able to see all your options. But if you are driving down the road and the bridge is gone, you're not just going to keep driving and then drive into the lake just because the roadmap told you so. You need to use a little bit more intuition and be able to discern things from yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of that comes from practice. Here's another good trade. You could see it was bouncing off of this high, right where I'm moving that stop loss. Now that's something I never do currently on my funded trading account. And that is because with my back testing, I have seen, and we're about to see it right here, if I go negative 2.5 points, which is why that's my stop loss, then I think it was 80% of the time I lost. So there were some times that it went negative 3 points and then turned around and ended up being a win, but the math didn't add up. So with this sim account, I'm a little bit able to try things, but I almost shouldn't be. There's a really good win there because it broke through what we were seeing right here, where all this consolidation was happening. Now here, I'm a little unsure of how to handle it because, again, we're bumping up. We are handling these 2 right here. And it's clearly some sort of resistance. But is it strong enough resistance? In retrospect, I don't think so. I don't remember what I did this morning. Now it's really cutting off. I got stopped out there. I thought it was going to continue to go lower. I thought it had hit its high. It is the highest that it has been since 832. So that's, a pretty good amount of time, especially in the morning here when everything's so volatile. So you can hear how I'm talking. My rule set isn't as hard and grounded when I'm not trading my funded account. I'm only trading on the funded account right now on anything that I've seen data driven by. Now, is that how I should continue to trade? Is a very big question, because some of my intuition here has gone better. Something else that I need to consider is when I go back and review this, I try to review it every week, but every 2 weeks maximum. If my losses here didn't, like here, I hit the target, that's great, because it was bouncing off that line again, which has been, that blue line on the bottom was resistance during pre-market. So it's something that's been established already. Again, not a hard set rule. Look, it's broken through that how many times before? Here, and then come up, and then, it stayed around here, but it's not necessarily something that's, it's not a rule. So you don't need to do it. You shouldn't be doing it every time. You need to use good risk management above everything else, but also not take it personally, which gets hard and frustrating. You hear if it broke through. See what we do here. Just doesn't know what it wants. You can see the ATR is down to 6 too, which honestly might be more my wheelhouse with how short my stop loss is. And that's what I mean by maybe I'll be waiting a little bit longer, but I know I don't want to trade past 942, because when news comes in, you can pretty much throw all your pre-market analysis out the window. And then we're talking about getting closer to 9 o'clock, and besides me not being able to sit here and trade all day, the volatility just naturally starts going down so much that it's not worth it for me. And just watching this is anxiety inducing. I almost just need to place the trade and then go and get a cup of coffee or something. So we did get stopped out there. We'll see. I might try one more. If it bounces off, be here. We would need it to get pretty low to assume that it's going to break through that top barrier again. That might be low enough. Or we think I thought it was going to break lower. Yep, see? And that's the other thing. My thought process right now should be the exact same thought process that I had this morning. That's how I know that my theories are in line with how I want to trade. And if they aren't, then, more learning needs to happen, which is fine. That's why we're not trading real money. We're not losing real money. So that's about it for today. For my trade day evaluation, I did lose $100, which is the maximum I'm willing to lose on any given day. But on the sim account afterwards, I made $60 through a lot more trades. There were 12 trades that I took. after those first two initial ones. So still more learning to be had. All of this will serve as data when I do some back testing and evaluate to see if there needs to be some changes made in my trading theories. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow, where I will continue documenting my trading journey so that you guys know that you are not alone in yours. Thanks again for watching.